Welcome back. So we are in North Carolina at the Shining Rock Wilderness. We're doing a 3-night, 4-day trip here, about 25 miles, and currently we're at the Big East Fork trailhead, or just a little ways past the Big East Fork trailhead, heading up to Art Lobe ultimately, and from Art Lobe we'll be heading up to Cold Mountain and then coming back down. There's a sign, I didn't get a video of it. If I can remember at the end of the trip, I'm gonna get a video of this, but at the end of the trip, or at the beginning of the trip, sorry, at the beginning of the trip at the trailhead, there's a sign that said the Big East Fork Trail was impassable. And so we talked to a few people and they seemed to think that we probably could get up to the Art Lobe Trail from the Big East. Is it Big East Fork Trailhead? Probably get up to the Art Lobe Trailhead from here, but to be determined. So we may get up here and see a landslide, not be able to pass, but in the event, I will show you that. If not, we'll just get on through and go up there and have a good time. But we're gonna walk on up, hopefully about 3.5 miles in, get to camp, and then tomorrow we'll get up on the Art Lobe Trail. So it should be a good trip. First time backpacking in North Carolina. Pretty excited about it. So it was a good campsite last night, but we got to start our morning with a creek crossing. Should be fun. Second creek crossing in the morning. Then after that, we should be done with the creek crossings, I think.
Maybe when we get over there, we can take a little break, put our socks back on, perhaps.
Yeah, we'll break.
And on the rock.
Little break sounds good. Let's do a break.
This is where we had lunch that day up on the Art Lobe Trail. We did have those 2 creek crossings this morning, the second one being a lot easier than the first one, but Flower Gap was a great place to have lunch. We thought about camping here, but it was kind of exposed. It was only about noon, and the water source was about a 1/4 mile north of the gap, so we just decided to end up moving along, but good place to grab lunch along the trail.
So we broke for lunch at Flower Gap, and right now we're about a 1/4 mile north of Flower Gap. There's a little spring right down here. It's flowing very well right now, but Flower Gap was a place we thought about camping. In hindsight, I'm glad we're not camping there. It's a little exposed, and like I said, the water's about a 1/4 mile away, so. And it's worth noting, coming out of the Big Fork East trailhead, that is a miserable trip. It is. Ow. Talking to the camera, gonna hit my head. It's narrow, it's steep, it's washed out. Landslides, creek crossings, it's just a rough trip coming up that way. But the Art Lobe Trail is pretty good. So here's a confusing intersection I want to point out to you. I'm on the Art Lobe Trail. That's Art Lobe off to the south. But that way is the old butt knob. Gotta come across here and connect in.
Yeah, if they didn't have signs here, this would be just a little bit tricky.
It would be trickier without the signs. It's nice to have them here.
Yeah.
So we gotta go that way. So we're in Deep Gap. There's no water here. And I really thought there was gonna be water here. Here's our water source for the evening. A little trickle. It's about what, 2 what do you say, 2-3 tenths of a mile and 500 feet of elevation drop.
I would say at least 2/10 of a mile.
2/10 of a mile, 500 feet of elevation drop from Deep Gap down the Art Lobe Trail. That's our water source.
That's the water source.
And this is
coming out like a trickle.
Sure. And not guaranteed in the summer. I mean, good Lord.
Overall, I did really enjoy staying in Deep Gap. It's a great place to camp. It's big, it's flat, pretty wide open. You do get a little bit of tree cover to knock some of the wind off. But I do wish somebody would have put a sign up that pointed towards the water source. When we got there, we walked up Cold Mountain, around Cold Mountain. We were looking for a spring anywhere. Ultimately, you got to walk about 2, maybe 3/10 of a mile down towards the Boy Scout camp, and you can find it there. But it just it created a little bit of a problem, and took us a little while to solve it.
Ready?
Yeah. It's about 5:30. We're gonna go summit Cold Mountain. So there is a little bit of water about halfway up Cold Mountain. Maybe a little bit more than halfway up Cold Mountain.
Yes.
Not a bad spot either. That's a good spot to get water.
Well, it was nice to have water.
There you go. I just tickled to death that it's up here. There's a rolling bull. What you want?
Yep.
So we've done Cold Mountain this morning. We came back down, had breakfast. Clear skies all day, no rain until tonight. Almost 50 degrees out. And we're gonna go back over. We're gonna leave Deep Gap this morning, go back over the Narrows, and I think find a campsite down in the Shining Creek trails. That's the agenda for today. About 7 miles, hopefully. 5 to 7. Probably closer to 5, maybe 6. I don't know how many miles.
You really don't.
I don't.
You're so confused.
You know, it's from here to there.
What kind of guide are you?
We'll get there when we get there. Whew. All right, we're done with the Narrows. I'll be honest, it sucks. There's a little water source up here coming off a white rock. I think we're gonna stop that and fill up. We're getting kind of dry. And then from there, we'll move on down to the Shining Rock. Not Shining Rock, the Shining Creek Junction. And then get down there and find a campsite for tonight. Here's where we dive down. No, it's gonna be the log.
Check on the pot. Not boiling yet.
So we walked 12 hours today, right?
12 hours.
So we walked 12 hours.
Started 4:30.
10 miles, 12 hours maybe. I'll have to double check on the mileage. We walked a long way to the point where we're pretty much back to the trailhead. And makes for a short walk out tomorrow. Good couple 2/10. That was a bad trail. The campsites are kind of garbage. Well, they're less than desirable. They're small. There's a couple landslide areas, and so we're pretty much back at the trailhead at this point. Just made for a long day. Good trip, long day.
ultimately, it was a good trip. I'm glad that it rained on the last day and not in the middle part of the trip. But if it had, we would have dealt with it as it came. But camp kind of got washed out, not a big deal. I left my shoes out the night of the rainstorm this night and totally swamped it. I didn't figure it mattered all that much just because of the last day. And I didn't want them having in the tent because they were so smelly, so I just left them out. But it was a good trip, 25 miles, good loop. Big East Fork to Art Lobe, Summit Cold Mountain, and then coming back down the Shining Rock Creek or Shining Creek Trail. I had breakfast that morning, made a little coffee. I had this portable alcohol fire stove thing with us. I took on this trip, and it was nice just to have has a little bit of ambiance, kind of knocks some of that cold off, and have something to look at. So, anyway, guys, I enjoyed the trip. I enjoyed making the video. If you did, feel free to like and subscribe. Got some good stuff coming up. Going out to Colorado this summer, and love to have you all around for that. So, we'll see you in the next one. God bless. Take care.